Hello, my friend, and welcome to this episode of Angels Don't Lie. I am your host, Jeannie Street, and today is a special day because in this episode of Angels Don't Lie, you're going to receive a beautiful treat from my guest, Kelvin. Kelvin is a sound healer. Not only is his journey quite incredible, but he also gives us a taste, a sampling of what it is like to be in session with him. He actually brings in his singing bowl and does a sound healing and a guided meditation for us. It is so profound and uplifting. I know it's going to touch your heart as it did mine. Tears were flowing from the very moment that I laid eyes on Kelvin. His energy is infectious and his story is amazing, and it's going to touch your heart. So grab your tissues and let's lean in.
When she smiles at you, she'll say, angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. No, no, angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. No, 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 no.
So you are a healer. They show me that right away. Like you use music as like one of the main ways that you share that energy and deliver. Tell me what it's like for you as a healer. Like, how did it start for you as a child?
Yeah, it just my own personal journey, really brought me to where I'm at today. Um, After many years of battling with depression, anxiety, and drug addiction, I found freedom from alcohol, from marijuana, from cocaine, from heroin, and even prescription opiates like Oxycontin, Vicodins, and Percocets.
Wow.
For me, I began that healing journey in a drug treatment program within prison. And it was within that prison program that I learned about the transformative powers of yoga, meditation, sound healing, even creative expressive arts like poetry and journaling. And, I had a lot of misconceptions about yoga, about meditation. And I'll be quite frank, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. I didn't see people of color, especially black males, practicing yoga, meditation
Right.
at that time. So I really didn't think it was for me. But I know the things I was doing prior to going to prison, it wasn't working for me no more. So I had to try something new and different. And for me, after stepping out of my comfort zone and utilizing meditation and sound and music as a vehicle to go within, because I truly do believe that healing, authentic healing, begins from within. I was able to find that sense of calmness and inner peace, even being in a very hostile and restrictive environment such as prison.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, I was able to understand the root causes of my experiences with addiction. And from that lived experience, I learned that it was the unhealed emotional pain that I experienced in my life, the unprocessed trauma that I endured, as well as the toxic chronic stress. All of that was at the root of my addiction. So for many years, I reached for something outside of myself to find that sense of relief from that distress. And I found it in alcohol and other drugs. And it worked for me for a while until it didn't work anymore and got caught up in that very vicious cycle of addiction. But I wasn't able to see that cycle that I was in. But the people that truly cared about me, had my best interest at heart, which was my parents, my mother, and my father, they was able to see that cycle that I was in. But I could sit here today, Jeannie, and share with you and your audience that I'm grateful for all of my experiences in my life, my experiences with addiction, as well as my experience with incarceration. Because it wasn't for those experiences, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. And I learned that to find the medicine within my wounds, within my traumas, within the pains that I experienced in my life, and able to utilize that medicine to share it not only with myself, but also to the world through sound healing and vibrations and frequencies from all the different tools that I use.
I have the full body chills, like literally hearing your story. And incredibly, I've been moving through, and this typically happens when I'm working with someone who has trauma in a way that I also have felt, even though our stories are very different. Those wounds start to ignite and I start to feel the frequency of them, which they're showing me this is very much who you are. And as a child, you felt in your body, and it was very confusing. And
Yes.
I love that you talk about addiction in this way because one, it serves you. And I love that you kind of said that because there is a moment where when we are drawn to something, there's a reason for it. There's an alchemy to it.
Yes.
And when it becomes off balance is when we forget that it's the medicine
That's right.
and or the tool to bring us to the healing, the frequency, right? Of like, oh, what's happening? So because you could tap in as a child, this is where they're showing me like you literally felt addiction on other people, and it wasn't so much they were bringing you to have the addiction, but then it became part of your everyday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the journey for me before our call has been a very big emotional journey. Like I all morning have been working my healing work so I could be in my body and embody me, because when we're very sensitive, we can take on all those nuances, but there's a story to be told in all that I was feeling, right?
Yes.
And as soon as you started talking, I'm like, this is what he felt as he was moving as a child. These are the uncomfortable feelings that he was numbing because he wasn't finding himself.
Yes.
You weren't recognizing where you started and another ended, and it wasn't even like you were aware of it.
Hmm.
You,
Very true.
oh
Very
my gosh,
true.
like the
It is.
medicine that you carry, the wisdom that you carry when you move energy now is because you experienced some, so like nothing is wasted. Like
Yes.
very clearly God's like nothing's been wasted with
That's
you.
right.
Like
Yes.
he's using you, he put you in a position, I want to say, to experience prison. And I think this is like really hard for us to understand, but
Mhm.
for you to have a holy breakthrough, because it
Yes.
wasn't going to come in any other way, shape, or form for you. You weren't hearing the greatness that he had for you. You weren't able to realize who you were in the outside world because it was like there was too much conditioning and too much trauma and too much otherworldly stuff that was dragging you away
Mm-hmm.
from seeing yoga,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
seeing the word of God, from seeing the light in another person who was maybe worse off than you.
Mm.
Um, and then having full compassion, because this is where you lean in. It is through your heart. When you're compassionate, it's like, that's like the healing right there.
That's right. Yes.
Amen. Like they're just giving me a huge, they're like, amen. I'm like, okay, I love this.
Yes. You're bringing tears to my eyes. You know, it's
I
so
like literally
true.
just want to hug you and cry right now. So
Yes.
yes.
Yes. It really, I'm really feeling an energy and the words that you're saying, and it was like that.
Mm,
It was. I call my experience being in prison divine intervention now, as I think
mm,
back at it, because I was taken out of my element,
yeah.
you know what I mean, and put into a place where I couldn't leave. But today I understand I had the opportunity
Yeah.
to begin the inner work I needed to do in order to find freedom from alcohol and other drugs.
Right.
Begin that process, and to really start looking at my inner landscape and all the choices I was making and the pain that I felt, and understanding how addiction, was I was utilizing addiction. I was utilizing all those substances and behaviors I was consuming to really numb the emotional distress and pain that I was feeling at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
When I started looking at it from that perspective, I was able to have more compassion instead of the shame and guilt that I had and I carry for many, many years. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working through all that trauma, but at the same time, I look at that experience from a different lens now, because I believe
Yeah.
that addiction is a human experience,
Yes, it
not
is.
a human identity.
Ooh,
Because behind the
yes.
so-called addict, behind the so-called alcoholic, is a human being that experienced a significant amount of trauma, emotional distress, and toxic chronic stress. And
Yes.
we live in a society, in a culture that kind of conditions us to reach for something outside of ourselves when we're dealing with any type of pain, whether it's a physical pain
Yeah.
or emotional pain. As a kid growing up, if I ever had a toothache or headache, I was conditioned to reach for aspirin, Tylenol,
Right.
Excedrin, what have you. And I
Yep.
used a physical painkiller such as Oxycontin, Vicodins, Percocets, and heroin to deal with an emotional pain. And like I said, it worked for a while. Growing up in my household, in the black culture, in my household, we didn't talk about mental health challenges. I dealt
Mm.
with a lot of mental, emotional health issues, a lot of poor self-esteem issues, self-worth, self-hatred, and we didn't talk about mental health challenges in my life. And back in the '80s, and when the crack epidemic, penetrated our country, and it really impacted the black and brown communities. And I got four brothers, and three out of my four brothers became addicted to crack cocaine. And my oldest brother to this day is still addicted to crack cocaine. But we never talked about, addiction,
Mhm.
in our family because of the stigma. We was ashamed of talking about it. So we kind of kept it within the family, kept it to ourselves. And for myself, and even my brothers, we suffered in silence, and just the pain that we carried. And, we reached for something outside of ourselves to deal with that pain. And once I was able to see it from that lens, I was able to have more compassion for myself because I was just trying to alleviate the pain because I believe in our culture, we're kind of conditioned to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Because
Mhm.
I was looking to avoid that pain, I was reaching for those substances, and it worked for a while, until
Right.
it didn't work. So just the words that you share really brought tears and
Mhm.
just that energy I felt. Thank you so much for
It
sharing that with me.
it's so fascinating for me, like because in my husband and I got married very young,
Hmm.
and of course like our growing up and our is completely different. But there's these nuances of pain that we all go through.
Yeah.
It's what we come here to um to experience our soul, right? To move through families, to heal lineage of pain,
Yes.
to crack open and find God in each other, to
Hmm.
remember. And so my standpoint on addiction is my husband was the addict, and I felt like I was almost in prison. I felt
Yes.
like for me it was like I had to love him, I had to stand, I had to take it all, and I didn't have the tools to navigate it. It felt very personalized to me, as if it was happening to me instead of for me. And
Hmm.
so interesting, our journey of being, a young couple, and then staying with each other, holding on, falling apart, coming back together, and seeing him like I see you now as a shiny soul. Like he went through the unveiling of all of what he needed to, went to
Hmm.
rehab, had some health issues, and moved from the addicted version of himself into the highest version, which is soft, and it's that true soul, right? He's leaning into meditation and leaning into those things that may seem, even for any male, like weird, like
Yes.
those are for women, or
Yes.
there's so much conditioning
Hmm.
that is breaking down right in real time now.
Hmm.
We're just seeing it all start to like meld away because we're remembering a soul's a soul's a soul.
That's right. Yes.
You are the light, I am the light, you are God, I see you, I see you, I see you.
Mm.
And if we do that, we're going to heal, even faster. We're going to, this earth, our planet is going to just see so much more love coming, and seeds of healing happen with people that are out there doing love work.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. So beautiful. And, it just,
And
that
the book,
passion.
the
Yes.
book, they keep saying the book, he's writing the book.
Yes, yes. Having the opportunity to be a part of the book project,
I don't know anything about it. They're just telling me. So you,
yes.
okay.
Yes, find your voice, save your life.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just it was a book for men. Different transformational stories from 20 different men from different walks of life, and we was able to just express ourselves so authentically. And the chapter of my book, from drug addict to sound healer, the journey of
Mm.
transformation. And it really was a journey of transformation for me, of just really going through those experiences like we were shared about the pain and the distress. And I had to look at it from more of a holistic lens. It's because of that lived experience and really connecting to that divine essence that dwells inside of all of us, that I was able to see it from a holistic lens instead of the medical model lens that we
Mm.
look at addiction or mental health disorders or whatever the case may be. And once I was able to kind of see that, and share that, and it really bring another perspective on the way we look at addiction. Because one of the barriers, I should say, for people seeking the support or treatment or healing they may need if they're dealing with any type of emotional distress or addictive states is stigma and discrimination. And I think one of the ways to us to kind of talk about or break the stigma or decrease the stigma is have conversations about our lived experiences and to really normalize our human experiences with the addiction or mental health challenges. And we understand that, once we see it from a lens of trying to numb the pain and the hurt, not only that's going on in our life on a micro level, but look at what's going on in our environment, in our society, in the macro level. And a
Mm.
lot of things that's going on in our society exacerbates different types of emotional distress and chronic stress. And so, therefore, just wanting not to feel that stress or that pain, that emotional pain and the stress, we gravitate towards something, And I know myself, we're looking for that instant gratification, So whether it's from a pharmaceutical drug or a so-called illicit drug, I'm going to use something to help me to ease the pain, whether it's a bottle or within a bag or within a blunt. It did the
Yeah.
job and it worked for me for a
Can
while.
I can I ask you about because energy has always spoken to me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I could see departed loved ones early on, so energy is energy.
Mm.
And what I know to be true is like everything has energy physically.
Yeah.
So cigarettes have an energy, and they can, and like once you see them, they can actually start talking to you. Did you
Mm.
have this experience with like seeing alcohol or drugs or anything, and it spoke on a frequency to you, and that moved you towards it because you felt like, oh, this is something I have to experience because it came into your field?
That's a good question, and looking at it from that perspective, I look at it from, I believe everything has an energy and a frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and I gravitated towards the frequency of alcohol, the frequency towards heroin, the frequency towards cocaine, and I often called my experience with alcohol a demon in a bottle,
Mm-hmm.
because when I consumed that spirit, I became a different person. And my father, used to say, you change when you drink it, you're under the influence of alcohol and other drugs. I didn't really understand and see it, but I understand it now. It was almost like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of
Yeah.
experience, when I took in these spirits, and it kind of dawned on me, why a lot of liquor stores and package stores also call spirit shops as well too, where I'm putting
Yeah.
this spirit, this hard liquor into my body, and I become a different person, and and allow these entities to enter to my body, and my lifestyle I was living, that's the frequency that I was on, the frequency of this heavy, dense energy, and I gravitated towards that, and I enjoyed that frequency at that particular time in my life, and I learned so much now from that energy, from that frequency, even when I learned, even if it was learned what not to do in my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's that I love that perspective, and I had to really think about that question, and how I tune into that energy and frequency of those substances.
And now you're tuning into, once we learn, when you move through life with feeling how other people are feeling, and you're holding that in your body and it feels dense, it doesn't feel familiar, you're used to not feeling good. You
Hmm.
feel bad. And so then, you go through what you go through, and you start to learn things that make you feel good, and you're on that journey now of a higher frequency of like, ooh, sound
Hmm.
gives a frequency that vibrates to love, unconditional love. So there's no strings attached, there's no separation, there's only more of that, and that becomes the new focus. Like that's what speaks to you now.
Absolutely, yes. And I really had to go through my experience to really connect to that inner love. And by practicing meditation, particularly with sound, I was able to go within and really
Mm-hmm.
look at that inner landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Even while I was in prison, I made that commitment to my daughter and to myself, because my daughter Tatiana, she was my inspiration, for me to find an inner motivation to really change my life around for the better, because I wanted to be the man, the father that my daughter could look up to and be proud of. And I put her through so much pain, so much trauma, all the poor choices I made under the influence of alcohol and other drugs. And when I went to the county jail, when I got arrested the first day, just thinking about her and all the hurt that I'm causing to her and the rest of my family, you know, it got to the point where we hear in certain circles that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that was so true for me. So while I was in prison, I took advantage of all the programs that was available while I had to be there. And the drug treatment program was one of the most influential programs because I learned about myself. I learned
Mm-hmm.
about the impact of addiction and how it impacts me mentally, how it impacts me physically, and I believe how it impacted me spiritually as well too. And I also was able to learn tools and practices to help me to deal with the pain, the stress, the anxiety,
Right.
the tension, which was, sound healing, the creative expressive arts like poetry and journaling, and, not consuming any drugs. And there was a lot of drugs in prison as well, too, but I made that commitment to myself and to my daughter not to consume any drugs. So those emotion was coming up for me. But I
Right.
had tools in my life to help me to process those emotions in a very healthy way. And poetry was one of those tools that I was able to really utilize. And if it's okay, Jeannie, I love to share a poem that I wrote while I
Yes.
was in a drug treatment program that was very therapeutic for me then. And it was very therapeutic for me now. And by practicing that meditation and sound and going within and connecting to those emotions that I suppressed under the influence of alcohol and other drugs, allow it to come up and process it in a very therapeutic way through poetry. It was very cathartic, very healing for me
Are
while
we
I was
honored?
incarcerated.
Thank you.
And the name of this poem that I wrote while in prison is called Eyes of a Silent Sun. Look into my eyes and tell me what you see. Is it a lost soul with no control, trying to be free? As I look into the mirror and stare into my eyes, I see all the anger and self hate, hypocrisy and lies. I see resentment, frustration, embarrassment, and pain. I see jail bars and fancy cars as I cruise down memory lane. I see the feelings I repressed, going back to childhood. I need to let go of those feelings. I would if I could. I see the hurt that I caused to the ones I love the most. I see my brother on his wedding day as we celebrate with a toast. I see the good and bad times that I experienced in my life, but it's so hard to let go of all that bitterness and strife. There's a sense of sadness when you look into my eyes, like the ones you see when a close relative dies. But this death is not physical. It has to do with the soul. It's that morbid feeling we get when our spiritual energy is low. It's like nothing matters anymore, like that day when I was fired. Feeling depressed and weak. Can't sleep, but I'm so tired. I'm tired of all the pain, the hurt, and the rain. From that cloud that keeps following me. Sometimes I think I'm insane. But when I look out the window and see the beauty of the lake, it reminds me of good times, like when I was 9 and things were fine. And with the sunrise, I can feel the presence of the Creator. When I look out my window, I see me in the beauty of nature. I'm a part of God's creation, nature, and humanity. The loving spirit that's in Jesus is also in me. So I learned to love myself and others just for who we are. And I learned all about this love looking out my window with jail bars. And for me, I learned about love in a very unusual place, in prison, behind bars. And by practicing sound healing and allowing that to be a vehicle for me to go within, I was able to see the shame and guilt that often keep people like myself in that very vicious cycle of addiction. But I also was able to connect to, able to see that something else as well too. I was able to connect to that inner love that dwells inside of each and every one of us, because I believe that love is more than a human emotion. I believe love is a vibration. It's a frequency.
Yes.
It's a natural state of being. But oftentimes our addictions, our traumas, the poor choices we make makes us feel so fragmented, so broken, so disconnected to that inner love that dwells inside of each and every one of us. And by practicing sound healing, I was able to tap into that inner love and connect to that inner love and really ask some very thought provoking questions. If I truly love myself, I won't put these toxic chemicals in my body that will eventually kill me. If I
Mm.
truly love myself, I won't be put myself in these very riskful harm risk situation that will eventually kill me. So therefore, I had to really evaluate the way I was truly taking care of myself in a very poor way. So therefore, really loving myself and honoring myself and taking care of myself on a holistic level, meaning mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as physically, became part of my life journey. And once I was able to tap into that inner love that dwells inside of me, I'm more open to sharing that love to other people in my life, whether it's professionally or with the people that I serve, as well as personally, the loved ones that I have in my life. So it just that experience of really connecting to that agape love, it was because of that experience of being in prison. So it goes back to what you said earlier. It just that experience of being in prison. It really was that opportunity for me to connect with the divine in a very authentic and true way, and it was very powerful for me, and I
It's
never
it.
forget that.
You say so many powerful things, and it reminds me of. It just reminds me of how powerful love is. Like,
Mm,
it isn't one thing. It's
mhm.
this remembrance of who we are,
Yes,
and with any form of you know healing work that we're doing, we're parents, we're doing healing work, um we're called to serve as we follow God. We're called to preach that good word or share it in any form that we're here on this planet to
that's
do.
right. Yes.
But if our cup isn't full, if our heart isn't in the direction of loving ourselves,
Hmm.
then we give from a place of lack. We give from a place that has little frequency, has no volume, no yumminess, and so we tend to either overgive, over speak. We tend to seek outside sources to fill up, such as like substances, and some people it's sex, some people it's shopping. It can be anything,
Yes.
and you still feel empty, and so you are serving that back to your people, to the people that are around you, because what you can't give from an empty reservoir. So
Right.
you you are a miracle because you found the path to self-love, which
Mm.
isn't really an easy thing to explain, is it? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
how do you explain I had to start liking myself, and in liking myself I said no to those drugs?
Yeah. It's by sharing my story, it's kind of like a resource, if you will, maybe even a curriculum, so to speak. Where people can really tap into that storyline and apply it to their own life and really see it from their perspective and how they loving themselves and what ways are they loving themselves, what way
Mm-hmm.
are they dishonoring themselves. And I love the fact of having that lived experience because I could share it from my perspective and really share it in a way that it's authentic to me. And when people have questions, how do we find that love? It's like it feel like there's a we feel so disconnected because of those blockages we may have or those traumas that make us feel
Mm-hmm.
so disconnected to that love. But once we, I kind of encourage people to really go within whatever practice that resonate with you by going within, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's sound healing, Reiki energy healing, whatever practice to really connect, just to be still and just really just feel and be present with yourself, be present with your heart space. And for me, I learned that I made some very poor choices in my life, but regardless of all the choices that I made, I am still worthy of love because I
Yes.
am love. And once I was able to, have that grace, within myself and that self forgiveness, which I'm still working on to this day, and just honoring, the things that I've done, the places that I've gone, and what I've learned from that experiences in my life. It just really to have that sense of grace in my life to really honor myself, and to me, and having compassion for myself. And to me, that's like love in action. When I'm able to incorporate those different practices in my life, the grace,
Mm-hmm.
the compassion, the self-respect, the self-forgiveness within my life. And for me, it's an ebb and flow, and sometimes I could get activated, but then there's always a practice, a modality, a hobby to bring me back home, back into
Mm,
homeostasis, back
Can
into
you
balance.
share a method that you use to go within? I know exactly, like I feel like, oh yeah, but if we were talking to the layperson, someone that is having an issue with maybe feeling like they're drawn to substance, or maybe they do have an addiction,
Hmm.
and they want to have some of what you have, how do they go within? What is the first step?
For me, it's sound healing, and the bowls that I use the crystal singing bowls. I have the metal singing bowls. This is one of my Himalayan singing bowls from Nepal,
Mm.
and just having tools like this, and I just could sit in my chair or in a comfortable position where I just close my eyes, connect to my body, and notice any sensation I may feel within my body, or I can notice any thoughts coming up to my conscious awareness,
Mm.
or notice any energy of emotion arising up within me. And I just take this time, this moment, just to notice how I feel in a very loving, compassionate, and non judgmental way. And I just take this time just to sit with myself and to simply just be. And allow the sounds and the vibrations and tones and frequencies from the different healing tools and instruments that I utilize, allow that to be the vehicle for me to go within. Because I know the energy that I'm feeling, the sounds that I'm hearing, that we are one. Then I am trained with the sounds, the vibrations, and tones and frequencies. And it takes me from the waking state of beta down to an alpha state, which is a relaxed state. And some people go even deeper to that theta, delta state, which is a more deeper meditative state. And when I enter to that theta state of brainwave activities or states of consciousness, I feel a sense of oneness to all that is, that divine presence, the overwhelming feeling of love. And sometimes it may be a bright light, may come into my conscious awareness. And I sit there and just be in the presence, in awe, with the attitude of gratitude. Just thankful for my life. Thank you for my experiences. Thank you for the people in my life. And I breathe. I take a deep breath in and a long breath out. I connect to my spirit through breath by taking another deep breath in and a long breath out. I'll do this one more time. I'll take another deep breath in and a long breath out. Releasing any stress, any worry, any anxiety, anything that no longer serves me. I ask for it to be released, and it is so. And that's just a simple practice that.
What a special treat. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
It's a really beautiful bowl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm. I have singing bowls and I love them. I have a love affair. They speak to me. And
Yes. Yes.
So I can see already like how they speak to you and then you through them, and this weaving of like love and then just profound, really just profound.
Thank you. Thank you so
Tell
much.
me about your, like, I know you are the sound healer, but I don't know exactly how you're using your gift and sharing it with the world. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's because of my lived experience that I have the passion of sharing this with people from all walks of life. I go to different yoga studios or wellness centers throughout the country, but
Mm,
also bring these sound healing and other modalities to people that may not have accessibility to sound healing,
mm,
such as addiction treatment centers, such as
nice.
mental health centers, such as shelters and prisons as well too. I really make these modalities accessible to all bodies, because I had these misconceptions about yoga, about meditation and sound healing for a very long time. So I thought this was for other people, this was for privileged people, this wasn't for me, but one of my job and roles is to really kind of demystify these modalities, these ancient practices, and really how do we utilize them in our modern day life, and
Mm,
to really understand that this is a tool that we can utilize and really help us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as physically. So I also work at a psychiatric hospital as well too,
mm,
here in Connecticut, where I bring sound healing to the inpatient units, the outpatient units, and the different programs they have within the inpatient psychiatric hospital as well too. But also work with different addiction treatment centers because of my lived experience. I want to bring this to people that experience different types of emotional distress or mental health challenges, different types of addictive states, or known as substance use disorders. So, have that passion to really bring in more of a holistic approach to mental health care, to behavioral health care, has became my passion. So that's like kind of really my focus. But
mm,
I think mental health is on a spectrum. Some people may have very mild anxiety at times. The impact of COVID-19, it brought a lot of mental emotional distress for a lot of people because I
yes.
believe it was a physical and mental health crisis, but it was also an economic crisis as well too, which exacerbated a lot of mental health challenges as well. But also, the mind and body is intimately connected. So what affects the mind affects the body, and what
Right.
affects the body affects the mind. And working within the Black and Brown communities, and COVID-19 also showed something else, particularly the health disparities that many people in marginalized communities experience. Whereas in the Black and Brown communities, there's high levels of diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, certain cancers, and a lot of other chronic health conditions. And I lost a lot of cousins. I lost 4 cousins within a 6 week
Wow.
time frame. A couple years ago, due to they had underlying health issues,
Right.
and once they caught COVID, it just really shut down their immune system and really impacted their life and health. So therefore, part of my work is to really understanding the mind and body connection, and really work within the Black and Brown communities as well too, and understand that I want to put a face and voice, because oftentimes, like I said earlier, I didn't see a lot of people that look like me practicing these modalities. So I want to, put that face to holistic health and holistic healing, and that voice as well too, where I share my
Mm,
story, let people know that it's okay to be vulnerable and to share their experiences when they feel comfortable and safe enough to do that.
right.
And there's so much medicine within that, as we learned, from our pains and hurts and difficulties that we go
Right.
through in our lives. And I learned that we grow through our struggles and challenges in our lives. So really having that focus of bringing holistic healing modalities and alternative of healthcare within our Main Street system of care.
Yeah, they're showing me you like a bridge. You're gapping, you're bringing together um, just so many beautiful things that are really going to lift your community. And
Thank
I
you.
feel like God has always been rich in your community, but
Yes.
the separation from the like living the experiences, or like even the travel, haven't been accessible, and now they are. I feel like God has put so many bridges, and to me that's what I felt like COVID-19 brought forth. You know, if we look at the gift side of it, because you know the horrendous side of it can really bring us down, but the gift side of it is how many healers have awoken, and how many families did come together and have to spend time, you know, kind of alone, and learn new ways to navigate life that weren't of our norm, you know. So there were some gifts for sure.
I agree. I totally agree. And one of the things I've learned from it as well too is a lot of people became more health conscious,
Yes.
and taking care of themselves in a holistic way. We
Yes.
have the conventional way of healthcare, which is there, but
Yes.
people started seeking alternative holistic practices as well too, such
Right.
as sound healing, meditation,
Right.
yoga, even clinical therapy as well too.
Yes.
One of the things I learned that trauma lives in our body. I have a friend, Nikki Myers. She's the founder of Yoga and 12-Step Recovery.
Mm,
She often says that our issues live in our tissues.
that's
And I
right.
find that to be so, so true. The trauma that we experience in our life, those emotions that we suppress, it's in our bodies, it's in our
Yes.
muscles, it's in our tissues. Our
Right.
cells have memory, and our body keeps score of all of our experiences we go through in our journey that we call life. And the thing I love about sound healing is that the sound and vibrations and tones and frequencies from all the different tools that we utilize, it penetrates to the cellular level and helps to release some of that stuck energy or stagnant emotions or stress or trauma that gets trapped in our body.
Yes.
And oftentimes it's released in the form of tears.
Tears.
A
Yep.
very beautiful thing, particularly living in a society and a culture that kind of conditions us to suppress our emotions, to suppress
Right.
our tears. When able to release in the form of tears, a very therapeutic and healing process for us
And
to
it
have.
doesn't always make sense, and I
Yes.
really love that. So I find that in my work as well. Like, you know, what my angels taught me very early on was the body does keep score.
That's
And
right.
even though time has moved on, that imprint of that emotion is present and still runs the show when it is unhealed. And
Hmm.
it is through sound of frequency, it is through receiving a miracle, even if it's like a message from heaven, that goes in and touches that emotion, sparks it to open, and then it's our release. And maybe we might have a quick memory to it,
Yes.
and that's it. Once you feel it, it's over. Once you emote it, it doesn't go back. And
Yes.
that's the incredible thing. And then the more you continue, the easier the healing becomes, because now you're aware that these tears, this is really hard, but it's going to be really good tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
going to feel really good later on. Yeah.
That old saying, you got to feel before you heal,
Yeah.
and allow that energy of emotion, whatever
Mm,
emotion, emotion or energy that needs to move, that needs to
right.
move.
Yeah.
And when it becomes stuck and stagnant within our bodies, it could cause a lot of mental, emotional, and physical health issues as well.
Mm. Well, I'm hoping that we can do a collab, do
Yes,
some sort of fun event together, because
absolutely, yes.
your energy is like super yummy and lots of fun,
And so
and
is yours, yes.
God is all around you. I also have like a grandmother figure for you. She's been around you the entire time,
Mm,
very claiming you as hers, which I think is adorable. And typically when that happens, they have a hand in like raising you. They're very close. So you understand who this is?
I would have to say, I would think
Your
it's my mother.
your mom?
Yes,
Your mom has passed?
yes.
Oh, and so she's with her mom then? Because I'm getting a grandmother.
I do have, yep.
Okay, so it's your mom's mom, and then your mom also has a sister with
Yes.
her. Okay, so then yes. So like I'm getting all of this female,
Mm,
like they're just showing me they're working through you, this divine essence, which has really lifted you up from the old masculine suppression.
mm,
And it's not bad to have the masculine. They're just
yes.
showing like this is the healing, is bringing this medicine in. And she's literally so proud of you. She's all around the heart and the chest, so probably either heart or breast issues she had, and that's where she leans in.
Mm,
And then I have a little bit of problem speaking, but now she's got her voice back. She's saying,
mm,
she just gives me that pathway of, so you understand that it's her.
Yeah.
Where she's also singing as well, like she's showing me voice. And her voice is like an angel. She's being adorable, but and she's like, and my voice is like an angel, and she's like kind of being, like I just feel like confident in herself, and it's kind of, it's very sweet.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. That's very moving and touching.
Oh, you're such a special soul, Kelvin.
Thank you.
I so appreciate you and the work that you're doing, and I'm excited for watching your growth and seeing all the people.
Yeah.
They're just showing me all the people that are healing, all the people. And I hope you know that you're supposed to write your own book too. I was seeing that, like the book, it feels like very, like, I love the poetry. I love the short, like little pieces, but they're very deep and they're very, it feels really important. Really, really important.
Yeah, I was just talking about that about 3 days ago. Is
Okay.
that I did the book project with other authors and have my own chapter, but I felt called to have my own published book.
They're like,
You know,
amen.
so
Yes,
yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
That's confirmation and validation right there.
And I know that you are so giving, because they're showing me part of it will be charity. So it's part of it, like it will have much depth to it. And yes.
Yes.
Pen to the paper, your mother says.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell everyone how to come find you and hang out with you?
Absolutely. Everyone, they could hit me up at Kelvin B. Young, KELVIN, the letter B, YOUNG, .com. And you can connect with me, all my contact information, my email, my direct contact information. You could contact me directly through phone. And I love to hear from you. I also do virtual work as well too. I do in-person sessions. I'm based in Connecticut, but I travel throughout the country as well. And just having this desire to really, bring the care back into mental health, physical health system of care. And what I mean by care, that means the compassion, the attentive listening, the respect and the empathy for human beings and for humanity at large. And we have the power to do that because I do
Yes.
believe in the power of connection. And I believe connection is the cure for feelings of loneliness, isolation, depression, and
Amen.
different other types of emotional distresses that we experience.
Like, yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for filling my heart today and for sharing space with me. You are so loved, Kelvin, and so supported. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for just, allowing just the energy to flow through you and to send those messages to me. My heart needed it. My spirit needed it. It was very, very emotional, but like we just talked about, how we allow the tears to flow and allow the emotions to be felt. We can, because the grief, from my heart from my mother, it seemed like it comes in waves at times, as well too. But this was just so releasing for me, just to hear your words and your energy, and being that vessel for spirit. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So that was Kelvin. Can you even believe this beautiful soul hasn't been in your life yet? I mean, you got to get more of Kelvin in your life. Am I right? I so loved hanging out with him, and I am looking forward to creating a beautiful offering with him, which I'm sure we're going to share very soon. Right now, I want you to head on over to my website, because I have a Heaven Now event, which is a connection, a group reading at the beautiful Angel Cooperative in Ridgefield, Connecticut. I love doing these collaborative events with people like Christy, who owns the Angel Co-op, because it touches so many lives, and it's very uplifting when someone is in the same frequency of love as you. And that is who Christy and her partner are. So I'm hoping that you can come on May 11th to this beautiful Heaven Now experience. And then we have one more at the very end of May at Haute Healing in Stamford, Connecticut. I hope you have a really beautiful day and that you've taken away some of this beautiful healing frequency and you walk with it, you carry it, you hold it in your heart. I love you. You are loved unconditionally. I hope you have a beautiful day. May God bless you.